Hello and welcome to These Charming Fans. I'm Colin and on this week's show I'm very happy to announce we've got Les Chapman, the legend.
Yeah.
I've called you a legend, and you get it quite often.
Somebody hasn't.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, thanks for joining us.
I nearly didn't make it actually, you know.
Okay.
I set off from Saddleworth where I live and put the postcode in the old TomTom and it just, I was engulfed in clouds of smoke after about 30 seconds.
Oh, really?
I thought it was a bomb. Yeah, so that exploded, but you give me the address anyway, so...
But you made it though, so you nearly died tonight, and you still came to the show. This is
yeah,
what we want from all, I guess. So,
that's how important you are.
Oh, thank you. No one's called me important before, that's really nice. Well, we start the show normally talking about the previous two games, so we'll get them over and done with, out the way, because there's a lot we want to chat about, with some stories that you've probably got for us. So first, the Champions League game, we spoke briefly before we went on air. I still can't pronounce this team's name. Borussia, anyone know about there? Mönchengladbach.
Worst job in the world, cheerleader for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Gives a B, gives an O.
The game's over by the time.
Half an hour, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because we won 2-1. A game we needed to win after the opening game against Juventus. I thought it was a great display overall. We went 1-0 down, but it was...
We deserved to win.
Yeah, I think so. We dominated the game, and away from home in Europe is never it's never easy.
Well, it hasn't been for us in previous years, has it? We've struggled in that competition, but I think there's a different kind of determination and commitment with the team this year. I mean, I've been here since '92, and I've certainly seen it in these first few games that not just as individuals, but collectively as a team, they look more determined, they're more committed. They're playing brilliantly as individuals, of course, because they're world class, but collectively as a team, they've got that determination and that will to win, and it's great to see.
Yeah, it's because you say you are right with Europe. It's something that I don't understand how we can go so dominant in the league and in the cup matches in England, but suddenly you take us to Europe, and it's like that Juventus game. The way we started, a good 70 minutes that game, we dominated that, and you thought, well, and when we took the lead, we could probably win this.
I think the confidence is higher this year than it has been for a while. I think those early league games of the confidence is built after each one. So I think going into that game in Germany, they were pretty confident, and I'm sure it'll continue. I think the key ones will be against Sevilla, won't they, home and away? And, but I fully expect them to qualify through the group, definitely, and hopefully go all the way this year. As I said, it's the best team that I've seen since '92.
Some great signings that have come in this season as well. It's really helped us.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you look at like De Bruyne and the amount of money we spent on some of the signings, and then you think, well, what must David Silva be worth, and what will Aguero be worth? It's just, I mean, they're just phenomenal players, and Vincent Kompany's back to his best. Hart is just a brick wall, isn't he?
It's absolutely stunning. You see some of the saves he's pulling off.
Amazing.
Let's talk about Aguero quickly then because against Newcastle it was such an amazing thing, and I don't know if you ever read what's going on in social media and the press, and everyone they've been having a pop at Aguero. I've seen a couple out of form. He's not as good as he was. One person's called him a has-been at 27.
I know, ridiculous.
Absolutely shocking. I mean, look at his goal rate this season already. For someone who's out of form, not included in the Newcastle game, he was still banging them in. So
yeah, and he's missed a few through injury, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I think I do the call commentary on home games with Alistair Mann, and they were asking me before the game what I thought, and I just said I think this is the day when Aguero bounces back, and I think he'll get 4.
Well, I said hat trick on the way in. I reckon Aguero.
We just have this feeling he was. I think the previous game in Germany, the last, when he scored the penalty, that would have boosted his confidence, and
from when it was,
you could just see he's getting back to his best. And I really thought against Newcastle he would bounce back, and of course he did.
So we'll move on to that game then. So Newcastle 6-1 is. It's a stunning to beat anyone that score in the professional game is amazing. So
I think it was very similar to the West Ham game for me. They're like similar first half-ish where things didn't go all our own way, and then after the break, bringing Navas was a good thing, I thought. The second half, we just steamrolled them. We were 4, 5, 6 divisions above them, just as we did against West Ham, the previous home game, but.
It's funny because we scored all the goals. They were so close together.
Yeah.
So we went about 25 minutes without scoring, and
Yeah.
you almost felt deflated walking out, going, "How come we didn't score more?"
If he'd have stayed on, how many could we have got then?
I
do you
know.
think?
I thought 2 hat-tricks easily. That would have been great for him.
Could have possibly ended up with 6 or 7, but I could
Easy.
understand, like, the manager. You've won the game, you know, protect the key players, and I suppose Aguero and Silva are so key for us,
Yeah.
aren't they? So.
Silva's at times
Genius,
is
isn't he?
unplayable.
Absolute
Some of the stuff that
genius.
he can get away with. There's times, like we've said it before, when he can get to like the byline and he's got 3 players around him. You think just get a corner out of it, but he doesn't.
His vision's unbelievable, isn't it?
He does something
He's touching
magic.
his vision, and he's the most unassuming lad. You know, there's
And
nothing
what's great
flash
about him?
about it.
No, exactly. And if he gets hit, he's straight back up. I suppose that's like Aguero and like the South American players that have came in. They kind of instilled that. Don't stay down. Don't dive around on the floor.
Argentinians especially are real warriors, aren't they?
Yeah.
Zabaleta and Demic.
Great to see Zeba back as well.
Yeah,
he's
it was.
had a
Yeah,
long
it's
time
good
out.
to see him back.
Well,
Yeah, he's
Sanya's
got
had
less hair now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah,
A lot of them have Sanya. This must be the right back thing. He's had his hair cut over the summer as well, and he's been a great player.
I don't think Zaba any choice though.
No, that's Mother Nature giving him his haircut. That's it gets everyone eventually, doesn't it? So, all right. So it's been great. So you're obviously you used to be the kit man, and now you're working. You let me know you work now on the media side of the website, and so what's that like? Kind of, yeah.
Compared to the dressing room environment, which I've been in for 48 years, it's a dramatic change. You can't be mad anymore. You know, you have to sit at a desk, and they've got. It's like a big call centre, and there's Spanish, Chinese, Indonesian, French, Portuguese, every different nationality in and around where I sit, and basically they just mainly sat in front of the laptops doing stuff all day for different websites for different countries, you know. And I make any noise or any kind of gesture or anything like that I probably did on a day-to-day basis as the kit man. It's like frowned upon, I think, so I feel a bit subdued when I'm doing my present capacity.
But in the second hour of the show, we will talk a bit more about the glory years and when you were allowed to have fun.
The glorious days.
What we'll do now, though, is a beautiful segment of the show we do is we like to relive the moment we won the league when Aguero scored that amazing goal. So what we'll do is we're going to watch the clip on the TV, we'll talk through it, and then normally we have fans on the couch and we talk about what it was like on that day and where you was at the time and you know what you did afterwards. And so I suppose it was quite special for you because you must have been right in the thick of it with everyone. And
yeah, I was in and around it.
Yeah. So let's have a look at watch now because there's Super Mario every time, every single time. It's a great celebration as well. He's
goosebumps, isn't it?
Definitely every single time.
Oof.
We'll talk about
There's
that.
a damper.
There we go. There's Super Joe though.
Yeah, hardly.
This is a beautiful moment. I see it every week. The left back and the goalkeeper who never get to celebrate with everyone else.
A lot of clips show faces of people, the fans in the crowd and that, and like the looks on the faces is just incredible.
It was. So let's talk about because you say it's bittersweet.
Yeah, well, I watched most of the game in the players' lounge because the manager at the time had so many hangers on the bench that there wasn't even room for the kit man. So
wow.
I think that's probably pretty rare in football, especially in the Premier League. So I'd flipped from the players' lounge, and then we had a TV in the warm-up area, and then we had a TV in the dressing room. So you can sense the nervousness of it all in those last 10 minutes when it wasn't going to plan, and I was in the players' lounge 1 minute, I was in the warm-up room the other minute, in the dressing room the other minute, then back to the warm-up room, then back to the, you know, just a bit on edge, all that. And then I can just remember just seeing the goal in the dressing room and just shooting out of the dressing room up the tunnel and out onto pitch side.
It was
just like everybody else. Just, I mean, you couldn't write the script, could you? It was just an astonishing 30 seconds, and everybody was just it was weird. It
was just an
excitement
unbelievable
coupled
moment,
with like disbelief, really. And then we had great celebrations in the dressing room and stuff like that, and then just a little dampening effect when you realise that he'd be here for another 12 months.
He, of course, meaning Roberto Mancini, who you're not the biggest fan of.
Well, I can answer you that with one word, and it's a 2-letter word, but you have to understand the profound depth of meaning behind this little word when I say no.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Is it something we can elaborate on, or would you rather not?
I'd probably have to be careful. I don't want to get sued, or you. Yeah, it's just we didn't see eye to eye.
Because there's a lot of stories, I know, these stories that we hear at supporters clubs, and, a lot of people will put Mancini on his pedestal because of what he did for the club. And
we won the cup and we won the league while he was there. I always say in spite of him, but we did actually win the league and the cup while he was there.
Yeah. And because there was talks, and it's something again I've heard when I've been at supporters club meetings, like the communication was terrible between Mancini and the players. There's been a few people said that. There's talks
and the staff,
and there's talks about the cup finals, when we beat Stoke. That it's Patrick Vieira.
Patrick did the team talk.
Patrick Vieira did the team talk. So Mancini was. That's stunning when you hear stuff like that. So Mancini is the one who's going to be taking the credit, but it's the players, and it was Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to shatter anybody's ideas and illusions about Roberto, but whenever I go, when I was doing the kitman's job and I go to away grounds, you'd always talk to the kitmen, and you always get a true reflection of what the managers are really like, because you're working with the players and you're working with the staff and you're working with the manager, so you can see different ideas from different areas, and you get an idea from players, you get an idea from the other staff, and working with the manager direct, you also realise what kind of a person he is and everything. So the kitman's always a good man to ask, like, about the manager, and invariably they're pretty close to the mark when. I've
heard it from several different people. I say you hear.
I could talk to you from until next May about some of the stuff that he did, which I don't do. I don't really want to do, really, because I don't want to upset anybody. Not him, I'm not bothered about him. Yeah. But I don't want to upset any fans who thought it was great and everything. If they've got their opinion, then that's fine. Stick to it, But I worked in there internally, and I knew on a daily basis what it was like. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been said several times, so I'm not surprised when I hear stuff like this. So I'm not one of them fans who's not going to go, how dare you have a go at Mancini? And when he left, it felt different. I know, when you go to the training sessions, or you see some of the former players, quite a few of them have said it, that they sensed kind of something was lifted at the ground and people were talking again. And
I did my last somersault yesterday.
Well, what we'll do is, obviously we've talked about Mancini in the second half of the show, because obviously you've been with us since 92, you said,
okay,
so you've played under, you've worked under a lot of the managers and some great players, including Balotelli, and I'm sure you've got loads of stories that we can share. So we'll go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll quickly do the ugly side of football, but then we'll just get straight into it. We've got some Q&A session with the fans and stuff. So we'll be back in a few minutes' time. See you then.
Attention, small business owner. When is a box more than just a box? No! Oh no, that's just weird. A box is more than just a box when it can give you a couple of extra hours in bed, or at the very least some time to do something more fun and or productive than bookkeeping. Just bang all your paperwork in a box and we'll take care of the rest. Accounts Direct. Accountants on your side.
Hello, welcome back to These Charming Fans. Still with me is Les Chappy Chapman.
Still here.
He's still joining us. Start the second segment, we'll go straight into the ugly side of football. We've got a nice little competition here. There it is. There's our pal Phil. The greatest facial expressions. The ugly side of football, where we will be competing for the ugly side of football trophy.
Very prestigious.
That's it. These previous winners have included Natalie Pike and Dave Wallace, so I've still not managed to win it myself yet. But
Natalie Pike's won it?
She won the first one, yeah. It was controversial, but she chose the Scott Dan tackle on Aguero against Crystal Palace could have cost us the league if it was any serious.
Yeah.
But we're going to go in. I'll let you go first, being the guest. Do you have a clip that you want to nominate for the ugly side of football?
Well, I would normally have nominated the Ben Thatcher one, but I think you've done that in a previous show.
And we will recover that one in a minute.
Adebayor?
Adebayor's not been done. I think we know what we're talking about.
Against Arsenal.
So let's have a quick look at the little clip here. Here he is, he's just scored. And there he goes. He could run there though, couldn't he? If only he was that determined.
He's not run that much since, I don't think.
Well, there's his hamstring gone then, he never played again, I don't think. There he goes. Oh, right in front of it. Look at this, they're going crazy.
I can half understand the reasons behind it all. For me, Adebayor on his day was a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
One of the best strikers in the world, but it needed a certain motivation for him to make him play at his best, and obviously playing against Arsenal that day, ex-club.
Yeah.
And I think quite a few of the Arsenal fans had been given a bit of stick during the game. He actually played brilliantly that day.
He had a fantastic win.
Yeah, but I mean, a bizarre thing what he did at the end.
What a great celebration, wasn't it?
I know, but it's obviously going to cause trouble, isn't it? He's run the full length of the pitch demonstrating in front of the Arsenal fans. What does he expect?
He's proper exciting. It was. I think we all had a laugh there, but afterwards go, okay then. But funny enough, that's the game where afterwards I remember. Because last week we kind of covered the media bias against City every time we get slagged off, and that one was Stan Collymore on TalkSport, and he compared what Adebayor did to, I think that weekend Millwall and Leeds had played, and it had booted off, and there was racist attacks, and there was all this going on, and Stan Collymore compared that to Adebayor's celebration against Arsenal.
Not quite the same, I wouldn't say.
Yeah,
you know,
it's the first time ever. A
little bit more extreme than Millwall, I think.
Yeah, we pulled the car over on Princess Parkway. We was out on the phone going, right, listen, Stan. It's not the same. All right, well, I'm going to go with, for my clip, Mario Balotelli. When we played United in the cup, we was at Wembley, and that little cheeky wink was just enough to set off Rio Ferdinand. Yeah, let's have a quick look at this. There it is. There we go, look at he's going crazy.
Oh, Rio's gone, look.
He's gone. There it is. Look.
Cheeky.
And it's
Cheeky.
It's the smallest man on the pitch stopping Ferdinand as well.
Right.
Shawnee Wright.
Yeah, that's Mario though, isn't it? He does enough things to antagonise anybody most of the time.
That was hilarious. Anything that winds United up is always going to be funny though, eh? I think based on the two clips, we'll award you the title this week, just because it incited a lot of hatred, and Balotelli was just more comedy value. So
do I get to keep this?
You can keep it, yeah. Can
I change the picture?
Whatever picture you want, you tell me what you want in there, and we'll stick it in. I'll have to go to the trophy shop tomorrow. There we go. So let's talk about Mario, because Balotelli was, one of the biggest characters certainly in recent time at Man City and in the game. To be honest, I think football's definitely at the minute is missing characters.
He was a very controversial character, and wherever he goes, they'll sell a lot of his shirts.
Yeah,
he's that type of guy. I used to do the. Have you heard of the Legends tours?
Yeah.
Well, like Tommy Boo, the Joe Corrigan, or Ace, or Hartford, or Jeff Whitley, somebody like that, show this small group round the stadium, have a meal there, and then they get transported over to Carrington. And I'd show them around Carrington, and laundry, kit room, medical room, gym, boot room, dressing room, and give them a few stories on things. And the week after Mario had left, I had this group taken them around, took them in the dressing room. I said, "This is Mario's locker," and just opened it up, and about 30, 40 parking tickets fell out. And he owed the Manchester City Council tens of thousands of pounds in parking tickets when he left. I think they sorted it since. And a wage slip. He'd left a wage slip there, and he'd been fined by the club that month $100,000.
Oof.
They get a wage slip like us normal people, with like top line bonus, tax, national insurance, and that. And yeah, he'd been fine. He still had plenty left on the bottom line. What he'd done that month, I don't know, but that was a regular thing. And
I heard, yeah, I heard. This is whole. We could probably take up the rest of the show. We talk about the myths of Mario Balotelli. I heard one that the club had to hire someone just to deal with his parking tickets. And
we have a player department, and I think they did actually bring somebody in initially when he signed to. He's still here actually, just to look after him. But
there was
adventure. Every day was an adventure. He lost a diamond earring in training once. Came running. Chappy, I've lost an earring outside, a little big diamond thing, about 10 grand, I don't know. And I looked at Brandon, young assistant at the time. Brandon, come on, so we shot outside on the training pitch, hands and knees round the penalty box. Couldn't find the thing. Should have got a metal detector, but he wasn't bothered.
Still, they could just go buy another one, couldn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't bothered. I mean, there's some of the things he did were just camouflage in his car's a bizarre thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there was some great stories though. My favourite, you could probably do a top.
Setting your house on fire.
Setting the house on fire was great. The City Santa story, I don't know if you heard that one, where he dressed as a blue Santa and drove down Deansgate handing out £50 notes.
He used to live at 1 Deansgate, you know, and across the road from where he lived is San Carlo, the Italian restaurant, and he used to drive to the restaurant across Deansgate and park his car in WLS, and then he'd wonder why he got his car impounded 27 times. Oh, absolute legend. There was one, again, you don't know which ones are the true and which one's like urban legend now, but there was one where we heard he had broke into a women's prison. I don't know if you ever heard that one. He broke into a women's prison, and when he was asked why, he just wanted to know what it looked like inside. I've not heard that one, but I've heard he'd stopped at a school. He told kids off for bullying other kids.
Yeah, I saw that one
they reckon when he was at school himself, when he was younger, he'd sit an exam or sit a test, and he'd finish it ages before anybody else. Whether he did it all correctly or I don't know. And then he'd just go wandering off around the school. They just let him go because that was just the way he was. He would come out of a casino and give a tramp £1,000 or something.
I heard that one as well. He was like a really famous homeless person in the end, wasn't he?
But he did have a lot of endearing qualities. He was. He's not one of those that you would go out regularly with because you'd be scared what he was going to do next and that. But he could be great fun, and he could be very warm at times. And
there was I don't know whether I heard it from the club or from a player, or if it was just from fans, but there was, because he was big on his pranks with other players. Was that right? Or I'm not sure if he.
The players were wary of him, I think. Yeah. His locker, there were 2 spare lockers on either side. They didn't really want to change next to him.
I don't know what the story I heard now. I think it involved Yaya, whether Yaya did the prank to Ballas or it was the way around, but they glued his trainers to the ceiling or something.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen all sorts of things glued to the ceiling in the dressing room.
That is it's just amazing to hear stuff
don't
like that.
happen so much these days, but I suppose there's not as many wild characters in the dressing room as there used to be, because there have been some real wild boys since I've been there since '92.
So we'll probably start going through them. So that's Palatelli's.
It was Mario actually who did come up with the "Why always me" thing on his shirt.
Oh right.
He used to drag me round back of training, like he said, Derby's coming up, I need to do something on. I said, well, you can't get anything printed on that's going to be controversial or political or it's going to offend United supporters or offend anybody really, no. So he came out with 1 or 2 things. I said, no, not that one, Mario, no. And then he just came out of the blue with it. He just said, what about why always me? And as soon as he said it, I knew it was perfect.
Yeah, and it's the rest
and then about 5 seconds it had gone global, and then he's on to me the day after, get hold of Umbro, we want commission on all, because they were printing the shirts in
of course,
all
sorts. It became actual merchandise in there.
We couldn't get anything because they said you can't patent words apparently, so.
Oh, that's such a shame. Not that he needs it, but
no.
I suppose you could have done with the shirt money after that. Yeah. All right, well, that's Mario. So let's go through the years, the biggest characters. I want to talk about Ben Thatcher because I nominated him for the first ever Ugly Side of Football, and from a fan's point of view, no one gets to know the players like you. So when we see someone like Ben Thatcher who does say what he did with Mendes and stuff, people instantly go, right, that's it, he's done. So you said you quite liked him.
I mean, Thatcher makes Mario look like Santa Claus, really. He's fantastic lad, intelligent lad. The Mendes incident, actually, he came in the dressing room after it happened, and I said to him, what about that tattle? And he said, yeah, it won't get in my top 10. And then 24 hours afterwards, he'd seen the headlines in the paper, and his kids had come home from school, and Daddy, why on the paper, and this picture, and I think the seriousness of it all then sank home to him. And he said to me afterwards, he said, if I could have changed 30 seconds of my life, that would have been the one incident that I changed. Yeah, wow. He totally and completely, he was so remorseful after it. And I think he got in touch with Mendes, and he wrote to him, actually. I don't think he replied, actually, but he wrote this letter and obviously apologising and stuff. But after 24 hours, it really hit home, I think.
Yeah. And again, that's a side that none of us really see, because from the outside you're going, well, he did that attack, and the attack.
Well, it was.
An attack.
It was an assault.
Yeah.
But he'd do like daft stuff, like just make everybody laugh and stuff. And we played in a tournament in Bangkok. I think it was the Asian Premier League Asian tournament or something, and we were warming up before the game, and we were playing in this huge stadium, and it was an athletics track around with all long jump sides, stuff like that, all for athletics. And he stood at the run up for the long jump, and you know these long jumps is get the crowd going for his long jump. So all the crowd are clapping like this, and he sets off down the runway, launched himself into the sandpit, no sand.
He's probably gone for it.
He crawled out about 3 minutes later.
Just out.
But great character. Fabulous.
So over the years, and before we carry on with characters, I know we briefly spoke off camera about King Clancy. Whenever I get a chance to talk about him with someone who knew him or it was in or around the club around the time, it's always nice to have a quick chat.
Yeah, phenomenal talent. I've never seen anybody change direction and control the ball. He had the most amazingly quick feet, great balance, low centre of gravity. Got 2 relegations while he was there. So, he was similar to Mario in one sense, that he was very much an individual. I don't think he would ever be a team player.
Yeah.
As such, it's just whether you, as a manager or somebody else in the team, you could put up with somebody who can turn a game because of his brilliance. If you can put up with him on the negative side of, like, he couldn't defend, he didn't work hard enough for the team, didn't help other players as such as other players might help him, but yeah, phenomenal talent.
So it is one of them, isn't it? Because of the team he was playing with, like you said, we had the couple of relegations, so it's all well and good being that phenomenal talent forward, but going back with
great for fans watching that kind of ability on a football pitch is fantastic.
Especially when we were in the lower leagues, when we were getting relegated, to still see King Clancy doing what he did. And
we'd never win anything, would we? But
no, it was always that one
to see a talent like that. Whereas now we've got incredibly talented players, and we're going to win something every year, hopefully, which is fantastic for the fans.
Yeah. So in terms of characters, so from 90, were you there from 92 to
Kevin Orlock.
I've heard Kevin Orlock was a character. He's the one who I remember Andy Morrison doing this chat at a supporters club. And
Andy Morrison, another one.
Andy Morrison said when he signed, he kind of walked into the dressing room at City, and Kevin Orlock just kind of looked up and went, "Oh, we must be screwed if you're here." It was whenever you got. That's really funny.
Andy Morrison was exactly what we needed at the time. I can remember Joe calling a meeting of all his staff, because managers used to talk to all the staff at that time, and we didn't have a real leader in the team. Somebody who talked at the back, controlling everything, and he just asked each of us if we knew anybody. And I'd been at Huddersfield taking the youth team for about 9 months, and Andy Morrison had been playing at Huddersfield, and I said, well, I believe he can leave Huddersfield, but he'd be the ideal person for you. Not only is he was a great player, a very underestimated player, very talented player, completely mad, but he was a great leader, great talker, very experienced, knew the game inside out. He had great ability for a big lad. He just got injured regularly and imprisoned quite a bit as well, I think.
It's not ideal, is it?
No.
Andy Morrison was the famous, he licked Stan Collingwood's nose, didn't he, in that game? And
he had a big fight with Paolo One-Chop that I was present at as well.
Oh.
Yeah, it all kicked off. Paolo was, he was his own worst enemy, really. He's supposed to report in the treatment room for 9:30, and he'd come in at 9:45 and stuff. And Andy Morrison, who was injured most of the time, would be in the medical room, and he just made a little comment to him about it. You know, what gives you the right to come in later than anybody else? And they carried it on through the gym, and they were in the corridor, and it kicked off a bit, and there was only me in the corridor. I thought, God, I don't want to get involved with these two. And Paolo was getting quite a bit the better of it because of his long reach. And I think he hit Andy on the top of his head and stunned him a bit. And Andy turned to me, he says, "Go, check us in the boat room and lock the door."
Wow.
Because that was like a confined space. He would have killed him in a confined space. But he was just getting the better of him because we were in the corridor. There was a bit of room. We broke it up in the end, but and they were great pals after that.
That's what it takes, and it just crap out of each other, and then we're best mates. Andy Morrison, he comes across like a really funny guy as well.
Andy Morrison's
he did a lot for the
bright
supporters
guy,
club,
knows the game inside out. Good coach.
Didn't he was the one. I know the story he tells about Nicky Weaver. It's in the playoff final when Weaver's ran
There's
half
another
the
great
length
lad.
of. He's hit out the length of Wembley, hasn't he? And then Morrison kind of spared him. And he said he gets that question a lot. You know, why did you do that? He goes, I did it to save Nicky. He goes, because he was running that much, he would have died. So the alternative was Morrison.
He was a great lad, Nicky Weaver.
He's definitely someone. I mean, I'd love to get him on the show and chat to him, because he's at Sheffield Wednesday now.
Yeah, taking the young keepers there. Yeah, I did an interview with him last year, and looks the same.
Yeah. He's another one, because he was touted as it was him and Richard Wright, weren't they, at the time, the two young English keepers. And I remember when we played Ipswich, it was live on Sky, and everyone was like, "Here's the
just
battle
a
of the
shame he
future
got
keepers."
his injury that he did, his knee injury, or else he probably
And
would
then
have
he came
played
back
a
to
lot
the club
more
as
for
well, didn't he,
England,
which was great. I mean, that's always nice to see, because players like him and Shawnee Wright and they're the players who are City. I mean, like Zabba now in the current team is Manchester City. Yeah. You know, and for me, Shawn Wright-Phillips, Nicky Weaver, these players were just, they're all about the club.
I think if players are here long enough and they show that fight and determination and commitment week after week, even if they don't play brilliantly, if they like Zabba's a warrior in his battles, and Shawn Wright-Phillips always gave 100%, I think people like that get appreciated, and they seem to get embedded in a club culture more than probably Adebayos or people who come fleetingly and do something special for them. But I think it's over the years, when people establish themselves in the team and they're showing that commitment week in, week out, then I think fans love them.
That's it, and because it's a shame for people like Adebayor who's got the talent, but there's a reason why they go from Arsenal, then a couple of seasons City, then Real Madrid, then Tottenham. It's like, well, there's something there, and there's something
lacking though, which then again you could say, well, if he's in the right environment with the right manager who could unlock, you know, they had the key to work out what it is that makes him perform week in, week out, then you'd have a fantastic player. But that's not as easy as it sounds.
I just want to go back briefly, because obviously Paolo Wanchop, I was a massive fan of Wanchop. He brought a lot to the team, but he signed at the same time as George Weah, and that's something like, obviously when we did a podcast a few months back, and Jeff Whitley he said the whole team were in awe. George Weah had come to the club, and obviously it was very brief what he was there. But what was that like being in the club?
I took him for a tattoo with this tattoo parlour where Beckham used to go in Middleton. He booked it in. You have to book in, apparently. You have to make an appointment. So I took him, and he had a couple of people, his entourage, with him. I took him there, waited for him to have it done, and then I said, "Can I have a look at it?" And I said, "Why have you had a tattoo?" Because it was like, it wasn't coloured, it was black, so you could hardly see it. I said, "What's the point of having a tattoo?" And he just laughed and stuff. I think he's the Minister of Sport in Liberia or something now.
Is he?
But I mean, he'd gone a bit, his legs had gone a bit by the time he came to us, but he did show, there were, in training as well, just flashes of like brilliance. And he was a lovely fella, really good disposition, quiet, nice. That
was like a big thing for us. I remember at the time, City used to have a phone line, and you could ring up. I used to ring up every day to see any transfer news, or because it was during that phone line when we signed, you know, the likes of Wanchop and Weah. I got that excited. Even when we signed Stuart Pearce, that was like a big thing for me. And even stuff like transfer rumours. When I heard Danny Tiatto was going to Newcastle, I heard that rumour. And it was great, kind of being a City fan in that time.
Another character.
Yeah, Danny Tiatto.
We all went away at the end of one season, not on tour, just on holiday, about 7 of us. Sean Gorter, me, Steve Howard, Jeff Whitley, Gerard Vikins, Danny Tiato, and about 7 or 8 of us. And we'd rented this villa just outside Porto Banús, up in the hills, and it had a lovely swimming pool and a jacuzzi next to the pool and that. And we'd had a few drinks one afternoon, and Danny said, "Watch this." And he set off sprinting, and he did a double somersault into the jacuzzi. Landed feet first, just showing off his gymnastic skills. Landed feet first, but his momentum kept him going. He smashed his head on the side of the jacuzzi and was unconscious, broke his nose, blood everywhere.
That is awesome. Danny Tiato, he was some player though, wasn't he? Very fiery.
Very fiery.
Yeah.
Kicked the bucket over, didn't he, when he was brought off or something. But yeah, good character. I still keep in touch with him, get the odd text.
Is he gone back to
in Australia
now?
Yeah. But I think he's planned to come over this year, I think.
He'd be most welcome at the club, wouldn't he?
Well,
City Square on match day.
Yeah, cracking lad.
That is awesome. And because there's been a lot of like kind of fiery, tenacious players like that, like Stuart Pearce, as I mentioned before.
Joey Barton,
he was at one point the best player we had at the club as well, wasn't he? I remember you couldn't say a word against him. I remember a game against Arsenal, I think it was, and he'd missed a penalty. And I remember me standing up going, "Oh, Joey Barton," I was proper laying into him like you would, but there's someone behind me going, "He's the best player we've got." And that's when the reality hit me. I was like, oh, we are not very good at the minute. Like, all due respect, if your defensive midfielder is the best player you've got, you worrying, aren't you?
I think Joe's matured a lot over the years now. He's got a family and he's settled down a bit, but he had a short fuse at one time. Yeah. Good lad, Joe. I mean, I've been nights out with him and stuff and been to concerts with him, and he again had endearing qualities about him, but he did have a pretty short... I can remember him coming... The Darbo incident...
Yeah.
I mean, that was the ugly side of football.
That was the ugly side of football, yeah.
He come in that morning and he firmly believed in his own head that he'd won the Player of the Year, and I think Richard Dunn had won it again for the 4th time or something, and it really miffed Joey, this. He went into training in the morning very angry, and then obviously that came off, and then there's the incident with the cigar and the Christmas do, and then I don't know whether this has been documented, but, well, it will have been, because he got sent home from Bangkok, the incident with Richard Dunn.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
In fact, that was an adventure. That was an adventure. We were in the bar in the hotel, and there was a couple with the young kid from Everton in the bar, and they were drunk, and the kid's father had gone to bed, and I think they were a pretty notorious family from Liverpool, and and the kid was giving Joey some stick, and in the end I think Joey just gave him a slap. So it started to kick off, and Dunny just said to Joey, "Just apologise, just say sorry and forget the whole incident." But Joey refused to, and then Joey and Dunny started battling, and Joey bit Dunny's finger. Now, I don't know whether you know, but blood vessels near the end in your fingers are very close to the surface, so it tends to bleed more profusely than if it's somewhere else. So it looked really bad, this bite, and Dunny just like... I could see him going green, turning, and a couple of the staff at City rushed Joey out of the bar, shot him up to his room, I think on the top floor or something, and they locked the bar doors. The hotel staff locked me, Dunny, and a few other people in there. And then I got outside, opened the door, got outside, they locked the door again. I'm talking to Danny Wilson, it was, I think, member of the staff, and some hotel staff member, unfortunately, opened the doors again to the bar. They were huge swing doors, and this creature came through the doors like the Hulk. Dunny, it was...
Oh, the mist.
The red mist. Where is he? Where is he? Screaming out. I'm saying, Dunny can't, because he just had a bit of trouble with Keegan and stuff, and his off-the-field activities and stuff, and he got himself sorted out. And then this happened, and I'll kill him, and they got Joey up into his room, and so Joey's Dunny's then charged for the lift. He's got in the lift. He's dragging me along. I'm gripping Dunny. He's dragging me along. We're getting to the lift with the physio, some official from the Premier League, and Jim Webb, the physio at the time. And the hotel staff must have seen all this going off. They stopped the lift halfway between floors. So we're now stuck on the floor, and I'm trying to calm him down, And he'd just met this girl, Helen, who he's married to now, and she bought him this necklace, and it had disappeared, this necklace, and then he noticed that, and then he went off again, forced the doors open of the lift halfway between floors, climbed up onto the next level.
Oh, really?
Screaming, where is he? I'll kill him and all that. And some guy in the room must have thought, what's all this fuss going on? Opened his door and seen Dunny and just slammed his door shut. And anyway, managed to calm him down and get him into a room somewhere. I sent Jim Webb down the physio to see if he could find this necklace. The couple had it in their possession, so we got it back to Dunny, and he calmed down a bit then. And I think Joey got sent home the day after.
Yeah.
Dunny was kicking the walls, broke his toe, played her 3 days after.
Yeah, Joey was done.
I mean, Dunny would have run through brick walls. He's the bravest.
Probably, yeah.
Great lad.
Good old
Great
Dunny.
lad.
Oh, well, listen, we could talk all day. I think we've run out of time now.
Have we run out of time?
Maybe we'll revisit this in the future. Well, thanks for joining us on these Chapman Friends.
It's been a pleasure.
That was absolutely amazing. Hope you enjoyed it. Do like us and follow us on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Colin Manford.